Greetings and salutations. Welcome to episode 111 of Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry. That's the Stoner. Trev is joining us here in a little bit. And man, do we got a great show for you today, as it's never a dull moment in the NFL, and especially when it comes to our Washington Commanders and things to talk about. In the cool down today, we're going to be talking about QBs on the move, and particularly one hot name that we have discussed before, but now there's new information. So that's going to be our discussion in the cool down, which is not a cool down at all.
We ain't making it to the cool down.
That's a hot topic.
Yeah, that's to
talk on about. During the game today, we are going to be talking about free agency as it opens up next week, and primarily what are our off-season priorities, especially going into the free agent period there. And here in the cool down warm up that is brought to you by none other than Don't Sleep Energy. We're going to be talking about the combine, wrapping it up. It's not really too big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. I know people refer to it as like the underwear Olympics and all that kind of stuff. Got it. But it is important. There are some very, interesting tidbits to come out of the combine. So we'll be talking about that here in the warm-up. As always, we're streaming live here on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at 7:30 Eastern every Wednesday. And then this goes out on your favorite audio platforms. Make sure that you give us a like, subscribe, and find us on the audio platforms. Boost up those numbers for us. We appreciate everybody doing what they can to support the channel. Much love. You guys are already in the chat too. Gus Bus claiming first, but not too far behind him. We have Michael in there as well. Thomas in the house. Appreciate you all jumping in the chat. And we know that you're going to be active throughout this discussion, which is amazing and great. Just like it's great that Trev is here. Before we even get to the first topic, Trev, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Well, it is a wonderful Wednesday here on episode 111 for us, Trev. I just went over the topics that we're going to be going about, starting here in the Don't Sleep warm-up, the combine. Did either of you watch any element of the combine?
Some highlights. I was really busy this weekend, so I just caught some afterthoughts.
Yeah, and especially, you can keep up with the combine just being on Twitter.
Yeah.
If you follow the right people, you can keep up with who's breaking out, who's been disappointing, who's looking at who, and all that stuff. But man, oh man, my guy. I discovered him. I don't want anybody taking credit when he becomes a superstar. But my guy, Anthony Richardson. He blew that combine up. I discovered him.
He's been talking about Anthony Richardson for the whole season because he's a Gator. Stoner is a Gator, born in Florida, and all this other stuff. So he's been on the Anthony Richardson train for a long time. Not discovered him, obviously, but
I discovered him.
No, but you have been on that train. I will say this: there was discussion prior to the combine that, if Anthony Richardson makes it to 16, should Washington draft him? I think, Stoner, you actually asked us, that question. Trev, after the combine, does your opinion change?
No. If he's there at 16 and there's somebody else that's also there that's a bigger need and a bigger want, we take that. We don't need to draft. We already have a rookie. His name is Sam Howell, pretty much, okay? Why are we going to get somebody else to put on the shelf, go get a veteran, and then we have two rookies and an okay veteran in our quarterback room? If we're going to have 2 veterans and 2 rookies in our quarterback room. No, don't do it. No. Don't do it.
I think that's crazy talk because maybe I am a little bit biased because he's a Gator, right? I'm a Gator. There's a lot of Gators out there. We're all Gators. But not just that, but he's everything. He has all the tools.
Everybody said the same thing about every quarterback every year has all the tools, and they end up not having tools at all. Okay.
Right. Look, you're right, but he was doing things that have never been seen before.
What did he do?
Underwear Olympics. Okay.
The pajama party out there, as Dan Campbell says.
He jumped. His vertical was highest of any quarterback in the history of the combine. Okay. Right. He also, what did he do? What did he run? A 4.4 something?
It was pretty low. Yeah.
Two?
Pretty good.
He's flying. He's 6'4", 245 pounds. Has a rocket for an arm. Okay. I understand that doesn't necessarily translate to success on the field, but that's where you start. And I think he's going to be great.
Bro.
Trav, you've been next to me in person. Imagine a guy that's actually built, muscular, not me and my dad bod, but that can run a 4.4 40.
Yeah,
a guy that can again be not just moving it, but also is a physical threat. This isn't RG3 6'2", 220 maybe soaking wet.
Right.
This guy's massive.
Okay. Is he going to throw a lot of picks, or is he going to run over everybody every play?
Oh, he's I over under if he starts the rookie year for somebody. I'm giving him 15 and a half.
Well, here, let me combat that. And one of the things that he did in college, and you should appreciate this, Nathan, you being a stat nerd and all, right? But he had, I believe, and don't quote me on specifics of these stats, but in college football, he had the highest percentage of throwaways in college football in terms of how many pass attempts he had and how many times he threw the ball away and how few sacks he took. Okay, so he's smart. He's a smart quarterback, and he's not throwing a ton of interceptions. He's not getting sacked. I think he was sacked like 8 times all season in those 11 games.
Was he playing against NFL players or college?
Yeah, he was playing Georgia. He played Alabama. Yeah, he was playing against NFL guys.
Games? Did he win those games?
No, he didn't.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah,
but
you're obviously very negative on him.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I get it. I understand, Trev. I know what you're saying.
He hasn't done. I mean,
but
this guy, cool. He didn't have what. I
understand. There's the Matt Joneses from Arkansas of the world who showed out. Right, all of those players who've done that.
4.37, 40.
Yeah,
6 foot 6
I get it.
and a half,
but there's also guys who just blew out the combine as well and turned out to be great quarterbacks. The Josh Allen types, the Patrick Mahomes types, who wowed at the combine. The Cam Newton types, they wowed, and it translated to the next level. It's not that easy. There's so much more to it, of course. But I want to start. I want to start with an athletic freak, and then see if I can turn him into a great quarterback, rather than a Zach Wilson.
So you want to
throw beautiful passes, but can't do it.
You want to go through more seasons of seeing if he's the guy or not. See if we can make him know who we want to be.
If he's available at 16, would I move up for him? Probably not. He's not going to be available at 16. He might not even be available at 6. I think the Seahawks are going to take him at 5, even though they just signed Geno. They can. I think the Seahawks are at 5. They're at 5
he can learn
6.
Behind Geno. He ain't gonna learn behind nobody here if we take him.
He can sit behind Geno. Right. I get that. But if he's available at 16. I tell Sam to go look for another job.
You've got to be kidding me.
I build around.
Richardson has taken 0 NFL. He hasn't even put on a daggone practice jersey for the squad.
Okay. Well, Sam has put on the real jersey.
Sam Howell's undefeated in his NFL career right now. Anthony Richardson undefeated. Hey,
one game.
And who was it again?
Okay, Trev.
Playoff ready Cowboys team.
Pretend.
I'm gonna get that Howell early
Pretend
here.
Like Sam Howell never played. Okay.
Yeah.
He didn't play that last game.
Okay.
Would you choose Sam
19,
Howell over Anthony
barely
Richardson?
Yes.
I mean, that's outrageous.
I need more
Trev,
than one.
We can't be friends anymore.
I need one more than one mediocre year at University of Florida before I can go ahead and say, yeah, you're the guy.
And in Trev's defense, QB is positioned that you gain quality through reps. Not to say it's the guy who has 2,000 reps is going to be immediately better than the guy who has 500, but you're further along the development track. And Anthony Richardson, if there's something that to be said about not taking him, it's that he is a raw talent. There's all the ceiling in the world. You can be dreaming big, and there's certainly things on the offense you can do with him, but he still needs to develop as a quarterback because he only has X amount of QB snaps. So
absolutely.
That being said, if he's there at 16, you got to give him a hard, long look. But I agree with Gus Bus and Stoner. There's no way he's not making it out of the top 10.
No,
he's already the darling. This isn't Malik Willis from last year. This is a QB who has the size and some of those elements. And
it doesn't matter where they came from.
It's no different. The Florida, Ohio State. As for our audio listeners, Michael says name a Florida QB who has been worth a darn.
Steve Spurrier.
He's going to wait. He's going to wait a little bit on that. But no, Anthony Richardson was one name. It was probably the biggest name of the combine. Not the only name though. Was there anybody else who? Come on. Was there anybody sexy Rexy? You're going to bring up sexy Rexy. Is there anybody else in the combine that kind of stood out to you guys that maybe is there at 16 for Washington?
I didn't really watch, but I just, like I said, read afterthoughts, and it seems like we talked to a lot of stud offensive linemen that performed well in the combine. And to my, at least personally, to my knowledge, we haven't talked to this many linemen at the combine in the most recent years, So I feel like the linemen are the ones that, and then the guy Christian Gonzalez from Oregon, the cornerback. That's a spicy one too. Okay, if he's there and Anthony Richardson's there at 16, and Peter Skoronski, the other stud O-line, or the other from Florida, what's his name that we talked?
Osiris Torrance.
All three are there at 16. Who we taking?
Yeah, I mean, if it's me, I'm taking the quarterback because the quarterback has more effect on the success of your team that an offensive lineman or a cornerback does. So yeah, I'm taking the quarterback. But let's just
take the quarterback out of the equation because he's Stoner's always going to go
Gonzalez or the offensive lineman because those are both needs that we need, and those are the ones.
Is it specifically Gonzalez or is it like a defensive back of our choice and an offensive lineman of our choice?
I'm just basing off the Gonzalez because of the combine, we talked
who's going to be available,
and I think whose cheat sheet was kind of shown that they had a whole write up on Gonzalez, which by the way isn't really a big tidbit. They probably have write ups on 90% of the guys out there, but it was very noticeable that Gonzalez was one. So Gonzalez or an offensive lineman, Stoner, which one are you taking there?
Yeah, if you're taking quarterback out of the equation, which you should, I think, because they won't be available, and I can't trade back, I have to take a pick. I am probably taking a corner, and I'm taking the Gonzalez kid. I might take the those two kids out of Maryland who ran 4.2s, I believe, like 4.28s and 4.27, something like that.
There's a lot of quick cornerbacks out there.
Yeah, so corners were just blowing up the 40s. So you've got guys who are almost NFL ready in terms of speed. They're NFL ready at corner. So that's probably where I'm going. It's a deep corner draft. It's a deep offensive lineman draft. So I don't think you can go wrong either way. It's not a sexy pick. Last year we wanted a sexy pick. We got a sexy pick. This year we want a guy that we need to be able to plug in one of those positions of offensive lineman or corner. So I'm probably going either way, but I think you can get better value at offensive lineman further in the draft, but I will take an offensive lineman if they select it. I wouldn't have any problem with that. Eric Bieniemy, the only time he was spotted in the stands at the combine was watching the offensive lineman. That could be a tell. That could be a show. Who knows? We don't know what's happening there. But yeah, either one of those, I'd be very happy in that position. I'd like them to trade back. Maybe they can get an extra third rounder, something like that, and get another offensive lineman that way. But their first pick needs to be an offensive lineman or a corner.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. And I definitely agree with Gus Bus here. If it's so deep, doesn't it make sense to trade back?
It does.
They did it last year with and was able to land Jahan Dotson and a deep wide receiver draft. if it's between the two, offensive lineman or a cornerback at 16, you're not trading back because your guy's there. I personally am taking an offensive lineman.
I wouldn't have no qualm with that.
Yeah, I do think that, and maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen right now, even though it's deep in both sets, the drop off from like number 2 to 7 on your cornerbacks is probably minimal. But like 2 to 7 as an offensive lineman, and especially when you're talking tackle to maybe guard, maybe a center, that to me is a little bit more significant than it is for cornerback. So I do think in the second round, you can still get a quality stud, especially where you're looking to play them as Washington, right? For an offensive lineman, that's a day one starter. For your cornerback, they're probably your nickel. They're not going to unseat. Are they unseating Fuller? Are they unseating Benjamin St. Juice?
I think they're going to put Fuller back into the slot. I mean, that's kind of
Fuller's
what I would
shown
do.
over the last 2 years. He is better outside than he is in the slot.
Yeah, maybe.
And they've talked about they need a nickel cornerback. They need a slot corner.
You might not see Kendall Fuller on this team next year. He could be a cap casualty.
He's still under 30 though.
I know he's still young. I think he's 28.
Yeah. So I just think that you can get that depth at cornerback. You need a starter, a bona fide starter, maybe somebody, little bias from me, from the Sooner here. Anton Harrison at 16 would be a dream, whether or not you put him at right tackle or left tackle. And I don't know what we do with Charles Leno, but that would be a quality pickup at 16.
Yeah, I think they need to draft a right tackle. They need to move Cosme into guard. So they need to draft a right tackle. They need to sign a left guard. I think if it was me, I'd probably bring back the centers, both of them, Larson and Rouillet, at reduced rates for Rouillet especially, right? Restructure for him. So I would draft a right tackle, move Cosme into guard, and then I would sign somebody for my left guard and maybe have Chris Paul compete for that or be the long-term guy for that. Who knows? We don't even know if Leno's going to be there. We don't even know if they're going to bring back Lucas or Rouillet. I mean, Norwell's still under contract. Let's not forget that. He's technically under contract as your left guard. So who knows what's going to happen between now and then. I can't wait for free agency next week. That's going to be so much fun.
And Monday, I can't wait.
And that's the hard part about talking about the draft now, because what if Washington goes out and signs 3 offensive linemen
and 2 cornerbacks, and it's like, all right,
2 corners. Then who you draft
in
in 16? A linebacker,
quarterback,
wide receiver to replace Jackson Milne,
or at 16 though, you might be drafting the Nolan Smith, an edge rusher. And trading Montez, who's in the last year of his deal, or just being his replacement after Montez leaves. You know what I mean? So we have to wait and see what happens in free agency before we can figure out what we're going to do in this draft. But I wouldn't expect in free agency either. I wouldn't expect anything massive. I don't expect an Orlando Brown Jr. I don't expect what's the kid's name from San Francisco? McGlinchey.
Yeah. Well, why don't you hold on to that conversation as we transition to the game, because it is free agency. Combine. Any last thoughts on the combine, gents?
Yeah, they might want to modify how long or what's going on, maybe, because you just feel bad for the offensive lineman who tore his ACL, but then he finished the bench.
Then came out and bench pressed
but you hate to see it, you just hate to see it. So it's like,
so if you do it for, what do you mean, like shorten it?
Like, do you maybe just do the 40-yard dash, a vertical, and this and that, and not actually the cone agility stuff?
You don't. Somebody will blow out a hamstring.
Yeah, I don't, because remember Ajabo, that happened to Ajabo last year from Michigan.
Ajabo last year, he blew out his knee.
So it's just, I know it's probably not, but it's just like, maybe you don't have to do as
just a reminder, you don't actually have to do any of the drills. You don't have to do any of the drills. Linemen probably should opt out of the 40. What's a 40 showing you?
You got to get downfield and block, boy. Brandon Sherman.
Do the Jason cone drill. You're good
Jason
to go.
Kelsey, come on now. That man down the field.
That's a tight end.
No, Jason is center. The brother.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, he's down there.
Yeah, it's anybody can get hurt at any time doing
I know.
anything. This is all it is. It is a showcase event, just like you have in other sports when you have these camps in basketball. It's just a chance, instead of having to have these players go all over the place to showcase to all these different people. Hey, why don't we just go to one place and have everybody come to us instead of having to do it? Like Bryce Young is going to probably do that. He's going to go to, didn't Sam Howell do that last year? Didn't he go to like 5 different places just to do workouts for teams?
Probably.
So that they can see him.
I wasn't paying attention too much on it, but
it's too bad for that offensive lineman. Sorry, that's what happens.
Yeah, that is fair. Injuries are gonna happen. Kevin's comment here to close us out with the combine talk. I'm all for the team move down from 16, target branch and or tight end Washington. Plenty of O linemen and linebackers in later rounds and free agency, maybe Hooker in the second. Lot of love to that tight end Washington.
He's a freak athlete too.
Yeah, what did you guys think of his combine performance?
Stud.
Yeah. Also, another guy's like 6'6", flying all over the place. Yeah. He's quite impressive.
I thought he was great. I don't want Washington to draft a tight end within the first 3 rounds. That's just me. We'll talk more as the draft gets later on why that is. But right now, we're heading to free agency. Reminder here, the warm-up is brought to you by Don't Sleep. Use the code REFTHEDISTRICT and get 10% off your entire order at don'tsleepenergy.com, the best and official energy drink on Ref the District. Coming up here on The Game, we will be discussing free agency and what our plans are for that, or at least our wish list.
The Game is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 5 stores in Northern Virginia and DC. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running.
NFL free agency is going to get up and running next week, and it is planning to be a hot one. I mean, it is just going to be something else. So that free agency must be in some Pacers running shoes. They've hit up the stores here in the DMV area, and they got themselves fitted and ready to go. Gentlemen, off season is for Washington's been going on, and we've made some, moves, getting rid of things that we knew we were going to get rid of, like Carson Wentz, making hires that Stoner didn't think was going to happen in Eric Bieniemy, no matter how much he tries to tell you and backtrack on that. But here we head into free agency. Legal tampering is going to start first. You're going to start hearing some noise on some things. Where are your off-season priorities for Washington as we head into free agency? Start with you, Trev.
Real quick, if you guys see me looking up a lot, my Tar Heels are playing right now against Boston College, so whatever. Okay, off-season priorities. ACC
are they losing?
Nah, we're up by like double digits. It's cool, but Baycott just went out with a lower leg injury, so
that dude.
I know, man. Anyways, off-season priorities. If we're gonna put Sam Howell back there or somebody young or whatever, we gotta protect this guy, man. Okay, we gotta protect. A few years ago we had a pretty good offensive line. Could have been better, could have been worse. But it was decent. This past year, not that great. It was never any continuity. There's no gelling. It's always this person, that person, that person, this person. Taylor got creamed. Carson Wentz got creamed for what it's worth. So offensive line, we got to protect these guys and also give our running backs better lanes to run through as well.
Sure.
Maybe help Antonio Gibson to stop dancing so he can find the hole.
What were their yards per carry for Robinson and
less than 5?
Right around 4.
Yeah. So offensive line, man, whether it's draft, free agency, just address it and address it smartly, not just a guard here and then a center there and be done. Nah, you need to go get you 3-4 guys if you can. Seriously. So
yeah. I don't think it's a whole lot different than the same thing we've been saying for the last 3 years. One of the very first shows for Ref the District 2 years ago, we said we need a quarterback, we need an offensive line, and we need a linebacker. Those are the three biggest things. That was when we were trying to get Sheriff signed to a long-term deal, and they tagged him instead. And then went out and got Fitzpatrick as the quarterback and never did address the linebacker. I think it's the same thing. To me, you guys might not like this. I think their number one priority, quarterback. I still think remember we were talking about doing like a Stoner's hot take segment or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Here's my hot take. It's kind of a hot take. Maybe I've said it before or whatever. I just don't believe that Washington is going to go into a season with Sam Howell as their quarterback. I just find it so hard to believe that Ron Rivera is going to go into the most important year of his tenure with Washington with Sam Howell as his quarterback. I just don't see it. So I think they still got to go and address the quarterback position. And it might be an Andy Dalton, which we don't want to. But they have to. I don't believe Eric Bieniemy said, why not Washington? And I want to be a head coach, so I'm going to go show out in 1 year, in year one in Washington, with Sam Howell.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Carson Wentz that brought him here.
So why couldn't he? He did the same thing in Kansas City. He took an inexperienced Pat Mahomes who sat behind Alex Smith.
Yeah.
And look what he did to him.
Sure.
2 MVPs, 2 Super Bowls. He said he had tape once. I know he probably just saying the right things, but if he didn't, he wouldn't say it if he didn't mean it. He had tape on Sam Howell the year he was supposed to come out, but he didn't. And this past year. I mean, seriously, maybe he really thinks if he can come here and mold a young quarterback into a successful year or career, that can help him being a head coach.
Then let me ask you this. How
boy.
come at every turn, when people ask about the quarterback, they give him a very, very light endorsement? They say, we're gonna give him every chance to be QB1. How come they don't come? How come Eric Bieniemy didn't come in and say, Sam Howell's my guy? We are going to build around Sam Howell. He's like, well, Sam Howell, I like what I saw, and we're going to give him every chance.
Because it's still too early in the game. Because nobody has said that about anybody except for like established veterans. No one has said that this is going to be our day one starter. This is our guy. They're like, oh, we like what we have. I mean, they're still saying, what's his name, Zach Wilson. They still like him, quote unquote, up there, and like we're still going to do this.
Lots of coach
while they're doing what?
Courting
Rodgers.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. That's what they'll say. It's a light endorsement.
But you never know.
Why don't they give him a heavy endorsement? Why don't they say Sam Howell's our guy? And every time somebody says he's the starter, guaranteed. Oh no! I didn't say that. Rivera's like backing off. I didn't say that.
Look at that.
What was that quote today that Nathan put in our chat? Ron Rivera said, if he wins the quarterback job or if he doesn't win it, so be it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Go all in. He's our guy. They haven't done that.
The last time we said all in,
it was pretty awful.
What happened the last time we had a
quarterback? You know what I mean, though, Trev.
In?
I'm just saying, why aren't they giving him the full endorsement?
The comment that Trev talked about here is the one I have up on the video. But for our audio listeners, Commandalorian says EB wouldn't have come to Washington if he thought Sam Howell was trash.
Come on now, Stoner. You mean
why couldn't he? Plan? Okay, come on. Give it a little bit. Move your brain out just a little bit. Okay, allow your brain to think.
Don't you talk about my brain? My mama gave me this brain.
Why couldn't he have said to Coach Rivera, and they had these discussions? Remember, there was like 2-3 days of it, right? Sam Howell, we're not really sold on him. Can you come in and convince X to come in here and be the guy? Can you come in and bring Jimmy Garoppolo and be the guy? I'm not even going to go to the other one because that will just derail the entire conversation. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But what if Bieniemy is saying that? We haven't gotten to free agency yet. He hasn't had a chance to come in and say, we're going after this guy. Why couldn't that be the case?
Because
it could be the case, Trev.
If that's the case, wouldn't you go ahead and show moves that you want to do that? Like everybody else is showing like if they want the guy, they're going to go get their guy. The Saints went and got their guy. The Jets are trying to get their guy. If we said that, we're looking at Jimmy G, why haven't we done that already? Why do we have to wait?
Well, because
the enemy
his situation is different than Derek Carr's because of the way Derek Carr, when he was released and the way the contract was built. They can't do any of that until free agency begins.
So you mean
they
tell
can do
me,
it behind the scenes?
You mean to tell me they had a talk 2 weeks ago, like, we might go after Jimmy G. You want to come be our coordinator in Washington?
I'm saying Eric Bieniemy is telling Ron Rivera, I want to go get Jimmy G. And I'm just using Jimmy G as a placeholder.
So what if we got AB and we say we want to go get him too, and we don't get him? Mm-hmm. So then what happens?
I don't know what happens. My whole point
is
they're not all in on Sam Howell.
That's not an argument. They're not going to be like, yo, come here because we're going to go after Jimmy G. And if we get him and you, we've got T. McLaurin and Dotson, we're going to do it. Yeah. Although we got to wait 3 weeks for tampering at least, and then we can go talk to him. No, Stoner, they're not doing that, bro.
I'm sorry, Stoner. I'm not with you on this one. That was a bit of a stretch. EB definitely came here, maybe not thinking Sam Howell is the guy, but at least Sam Howell is a piece that he can work with. And what I do agree with you, though, Stoner, is in my top 3 priorities, QB has to be addressed. They do have to. Even if Sam Howell is QB1, you still have to bring in somebody who's at least competing with him. Somebody who, if they beat him out, then that's a talented quarterback that you have. Or if they lose to Sam Howell, that if Sam Howell, for whatever reason, isn't the guy, you at least can still consistently win games and go out there and do something. Maybe it is a Marcus Mariota. Maybe it's an Andy Dalton. Maybe it's a Jamin Winston. We're going to be talking a lot of these QBs that are out there.
Let me ask you this.
The cool down. So I'm not going to go too far, but QB is something they have to address. So I agree with you there, Stoner.
I have a hypothetical. Let's just say Andy Dalton is the guy that they sign, and they go into camp and Rivera says, open competition. All things being equal, if those two had a fair competition, who would win that?
Sam Howell, you kidding me?
Oh my God, Andy Dalton would.
Andy Dalton can't move he's not mobile like Sam Howell. Get out of here.
Would put Sam Howell to shame in a fair competition.
You've got to be kidding me.
I'm not talking about who you want as the future of your team.
Andy Dalton got that job in New Orleans because Jameis got hurt, not because he beat him in the competition.
Okay,
if he can't beat Jameis Winston, who eats W's for
that's not a fair competition.
How is it not a fair competition?
Because they had all their money on Jameis. That's where they put their money, and they put all of their thinking into Jameis is our guy. I'm saying if it's a fair fight.
Yes, Sam Howell.
Andy Dalton would win that competition. I'm not saying I want Andy Dalton to be a quarterback over Sam Howell.
I know you're not. I know.
I'm just saying that if it was a fair competition.
I think I'm the crazy one. I'd have to pull up my list, but I'm pretty sure I'm the crazy one who actually had Andy Dalton on the top,
on your top
10
10
list, by the way.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not exactly against the idea. He's definitely not number 1. He's below Sam Howell, in my opinion. But I mean, if you look at his stats from last year, completed nearly 67% of his passes, 18 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 2,800 yards, a QBR 50, and a QB rating of 95.2. He's not the worst one to bring in.
Do they make the playoffs?
Let's not even get into that because it's not. What I'm saying though is he is the kind of guy. He's going to be cheap. He's effective. He's somebody who is going to who would be in competition with Sam Howell. I'm not saying it's hook, line, and sinker going to be Andy Dalton who wins. Andy Dalton does have the experience, though.
He does.
Yeah, he wouldn't win the competition because it's rigged in Sam Howell's favor.
You've got
in terms of what the team wants to do at the quarterback position, right? Wouldn't you want Sam Howell instead of Andy Dalton? 100 people out of 100 would want Sam Howell over Andy Dalton. My only point is if Andy Dalton came in here and you took their jerseys off and you don't know who is who and you just had those two going out there and playing, Andy Dalton would look better. He would run the offense better. He would be the more competent quarterback of the two. I don't want him to win the competition.
Oh, yeah. We don't want
because
him.
he's not your future. Sam Howell is possibly your future. The whole point in all of this, in addressing the quarterback situation, is that they haven't just given everything to Sam Howell and said, you're the guy.
Mhm.
And they obviously need to address the backup position because they don't have anybody else under contract.
Mhm.
You have Jake Fromm. He's actually under contract, but he's never going to be your backup. So you have to, at the very minimum, address that number 2 quarterback. The most important player on an NFL team is the quarterback. The second most is the backup. You have to have a good backup.
We'll disagree on that. That was a fun thing to say, but again, I agree with Stoner. QB, what I'm not saying QB1 is
Right.
what they
Just
need to
QB
do, but they
position.
need to address the QB position.
Mhm.
My guess is you're going to see a vet who, one of those mid-tier vets that we don't really want or we're not excited about.
Mhm.
And then they're going to draft somebody in the late rounds. Also not exciting, but that's probably just what they're going to do just to kind of shore up. I personally hope that
you think they're going to draft.
I do think they're still going to draft a late one. I don't want them to. I feel like they have Jake Fromm on the practice squad. They've got a late round quarterback from last year. If you get a vet, you sign the vet to a couple year, deal, you're set. You're done. You don't need to do anything super sexy with it because if none of those work out, you're drafting a QB in the first round next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
start all over there.
Yep. You got to start all over.
Baby.
So,
well, after that,
QB,
Nathan,
you and Stone, myself and Stoner agree on that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trev, what were yours again? You listed off a few.
Offensive line, cornerback,
cornerback,
and then also that hybrid safety position and linebacker.
Jesus, we can't go into the season with Jamin Davis and Cole Holcomb as your starting linebackers
You
again.
cannot. And I honestly don't want to draft
already.
one. Go get you a nice stud. If he's asking for a little bit more money than normal, give it to him. We need Jamin Davis.
Legit
Yes.
linebacker.
Yes. And
Absolutely.
I'm over Cole Holcomb. He can go.
He's a good backup. He's a good third linebacker. Maybe he's kind of, when he's healthy, he's kind of a ball hawk. He can make things happen. But
against Dak Prescott, that's about it.
Yeah,
there's some quality names out there in linebacker that are possible free agents as we head into that one.
Again.
What do you guys think about the two elder statesmen in this one, Bobby Wagner or Levante David?
Go give me Levante David. He's got a Super Bowl. He's fast. Bobby Wagner is
probably a little too old.
Yeah, he did okay, and I mean his stats were, I guess, really good in LA. But go get Levante David. I like him.
I want a young guy, a younger guy. I want a fast guy.
I wanted Wagner last year, and now he played that year. I don't want.
That's another year of wear and tear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, whoever it is, I think he's
Devin
got to be
Bush from Pittsburgh. He's 24.
Yeah.
What about David Long, 26 years of age?
He picked off Carson Wentz in that game against us. Go get him.
Oh, the Tennessee dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like Tremaine Edmonds out of Buffalo.
Edmonds.
Yeah. So, and there's still probably going to be way more coming starting on Monday. So,
absolutely,
go get you. And if they ask a little money, give it to them, bro. Just do it. Just give it to them.
Well, yeah, you might not be able to do that if you. Again, I'm not going to
don't go outrageous, but if it's
if you go out and get somebody else at a different position
Jason
and pay him a lot of money,
this one, write the check. Like you can do that,
but I would like to see. Yeah, linebacker is huge to me. I kind of think that's the most important position after quarterback and then after offensive line. I think it's number 3.
Yeah, because
so I have offensive line as number 2.
Yeah.
I don't specifically have linebacker as number 3 for me. I do have shore up the defense as the 3rd. Okay. And the reason why I didn't specifically go linebacker, which of course, I would love Edmonds. I would think that he'd be great here. But Washington also needs pass rushers.
Like
Young,
edge rushers?
Edge rushers.
They need them, or
they want down situational pass rushers. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. You need them. If you can get one, you got to get one, Stoner. I mean, yes, linebacker is probably a higher priority, but they need more edge rushers. You aren't even that high on Chase Young. How can you
I'm not
want an extra edge rusher?
I'll take an extra 2.
I hear you. That's just not where I'm putting my priority. I'm not, because you have competent players there. You have 4 competent players and 2 young guys that you're still trying to develop.
Deron Payne leaves, bro. What we do?
Move on.
Go get you a pass rusher to compensate for that, because I know I've said Mathis is his replacement, but he ain't his full replacement. He's just there by default in the second.
Right.
So you might, Nathan. Yeah, we don't. Chase Young is going to come back slow but sure. Montez, he's inconsistent. He has
don't
a great year.
Don't let Chase off the hook, Trev. He should not be coming back slow but sure.
Bro,
his
leg was destroyed.
Okay,
his leg was destroyed.
I don't care.
Anyways, he's gonna be
okay.
Anyways, but then you got Montez, but they're gonna need breaks, and I'm over the KC2 Hill. I appreciate it. You're competent,
quality
guy,
depth guy.
That's what
depth guy. Cool. James Smith-Williams, he can't stay healthy. He's inconsistent. I love the guy. Great. F.A. Obata, I appreciate your hard work and effort. You're good too, but you're gone. Frank Clark's available. Go get him. Go get you a nice third down situational pass rusher that is maybe teetering off his career as a full-time pass rusher, like we did with Ryan Kerrigan. He thought he was a starter role player, but he wasn't. He was a role player instead of a starter. I don't know, but I'm with Nathan. Go get you some pass rush, bro. Guys, outside of Chase and Montez Sweat, who we got outside of Chase and Montez Sweat? Be honest, who we got?
You don't have any all pros, but nobody does for their 3 and 4 guys.
You still got some Carlos Dunlap. Remember him? He's making a name for himself by being a role guy in Cincinnati and in Kansas City. Like, these guys are still, and Ndamukong and Suh, Linval Joseph, they're all on their tail end. They got to the Super Bowl. So, go get you some guys that are either on the way out.
Okay, look, go get those guys. But first, go get your offensive line and your linebackers and your quarterback.
Then your pass rusher.
Then maybe you go get another pass rusher. Nathan's got the edge rusher as his number 3 priority, right?
I said shore up the defense because there's more than one spot.
That's pretty ambiguous.
Yeah, of course. You come on, Mr. I'm the one who's always on the fence for things. I'm the guy who lets you guys share your crazy opinions. Clowney is available.
Go get him.
I said that Chase Young is the next Clowney. Why not bring in Clowney and just have both?
Clowney can be the next Clowney.
Just rotate him.
I'm just saying you can never have enough pass rushers.
Yes.
And Washington seems to not want to run a 3 linebacker set.
I know.
And so I don't necessarily, as much as I would like Edmonds, to come here, obviously that's going to cost you some money, but he's young and he's going to shore up that position for years. If the current, regime here is set on running a 5-2 all the time, then I don't want an expensive, flashy linebacker who's going to see, 78% of the defensive snaps.
Yeah.
I much rather have a defensive end who sees 55% of the snaps and maybe gets 5 to 7 sacks on the year.
Get you a versatile one like that can drop back and play coverage and line up a defensive end. That'd be sweet.
Get you a Micah Parsons. Yeah, just do that.
Yeah. They're everywhere. You can find them on the open market, no problem.
Yeah, but there's going to be some studs at defense at the pass rushing free agency this year. I agree. Go get it, Stoner. Come on.
But for sure, you definitely need corner as well. Obviously, you've got basically 2 corners that are NFL worthy.
Who?
Which is St. Just and Fuller. Your other guys.
I got a hot take.
You
might not like
Richard.
You don't like
Wild Goose.
Benjamin St. Just.
I'm not sold as you are on St. Just, bro. That guy has not finished the season in 2 seasons.
I know.
I'm
not sold on him either, Trev.
When he's out there, he flashes, but he also drew a lot of penalties and he just can't stay healthy. So I think we have maybe one true corner, and that's Kendall Fuller.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. If he's healthy, he's a guy you can plug and not worry about a certain corner. But he's definitely not been healthy the last couple of years, so you have to factor that into how you're going to build your roster.
And be quite honest, he's a corner. No offense, but a cornerback from the University of Minnesota. I didn't even know who he was when we drafted him. So it's like
he's from Canada, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so it's
I
like-
think we all did fall when he's playing and he's healthy. He
I like the
seems to do really
celebration
well.
more
Oh,
than
we
the play.
love we love the celebration.
Yeah.
So I mean that's one thing. There on the list of free agents, there's one guy I kind of want as a corner just because of his name. Like it's just Rock
Griffin?
Ya-Sin.
Oh, Brock Ya-Sin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
That's like Rock Cartwright, right? You're like just like that's
that's a
football
Brock
name.
Ya-Sin. Brock Ya-Sin. We can say that in the crowd. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's totally chant worthy, and he does make the list on the NFL's top 100. He's only 27 years of age, a man corner though. I'm not sure that's what they're looking for. We've already had one man corner fail here, so Rocky Sin maybe not here for Washington, but
what about
the name
the dude,
alone.
What about the dude who just got released today, Griffin?
Shaquille Griffin.
Now,
Now,
is he a little bit past?
I'm being serious. He's the one with the one hand or two hands?
No, his brother has just the one hand.
Okay.
But he's been an all-pro corner. But I don't know if he's past his prime. I don't know why. I believe that's his second team already, and he's not that old.
I don't want anybody on our team that Terry McLaurin gives fits on a Sunday easily. You gave
To be fair,
that's pretty much every corner.
Gives a lot of people.
So you don't want Darius Slay on
No,
this
I do, because Darius Slay has respect for Terry. Like, he's the hardest receiver.
Yeah.
I'll take Darius Slay, but we saw, Griffin got beat by Terry just a straight.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Ha Clinton Dix. That was cool.
TJ bringing up we had Clinton Dix. No more name guys. I mean, come on. I was dead set on getting Smoke Monday from last year.
My mother wanted Smoke Monday so bad.
One, he's a very energetic guy and he's very passionate. But then the name is just such a great name. All right, we each went over our priorities. Seems like we're fairly in line. Free agency starts next week. Washington. When are they moving and who are they moving in on? Stone, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, for sure. I think the first thing they're going to do is they're going to go and get themselves an offensive lineman. And I think they're going to go and get a right tackle. I really think they're going to move Cosme into guard and they're going to get themselves a right tackle. Not a big name. They're not going to go out and get an Orlando Brown and then move Charles Leno over to right tackle. They're going to get a guy that you're going to say, I'm going to have to look him up. But it's not going to be somebody who just got cut from Carolina, you like a Norwell or Chris Paul, right? It's going to, Chris Paul. It's going to be somebody that after you look at him, you're like, this guy's, I think is going to fit well in this offense. So that's the first thing I think they're going to do is they're going to go get themselves a right tackle. And then they're going to address the rest of the line through the draft, I believe. That's what I think they'll do. And that's what I think they should do. The first priority, because everybody on the planet who is a Commanders fan or follows the Commanders at least a little bit knows that this team needs offensive linemen. So they're going to kind of do it to placate the fans a little bit as well. Say, look, we know offensive line is the thing we got to do. Let's go get an offensive lineman.
How about you, Trev? What are you thinking? What's their first move and when are they going to make it?
Their first move. That's tough. I think offensive lineman, like Stoner said, but I think it's going to be more than just one. I think they're going to go get Norwell and Trey Turner replacements. I know you say you move Cosme in. That could be one of their replacements. Then you get somebody else, but then you need somebody else to replace the other one, either Trey or Andrew, and for depth too. So I'm not sure how many guys we could convince to come back for us. They might want a lot of money, and we're like, you're not worth it. Tyler Larson, Rouillet, Schweitzer, So I think we address offensive line too, not one, but just two. But if not that, we go get a hybrid safety, one of these guys that can play a run stop in nickel corner, a run stop in safety, or a free safety, or a nickel corner slot. So because we got rid of Bobby McCain, so I think we'll do corresponding to what we did in releasing and backup quarterback too. I really think we're going to kind of reach for a capable what's up, Coach? A capable backup quarterback that can push Sam to be QB1 because we got Eric Bieniemy, we got Sam Howell's QB1, but we need somebody else in there just in case, so we don't have to wait for the bottom of the barrel like Cooper Rush or Teddy Bridgewater. That's all that's left out of the mediocre or the best options you have at backup. So offensive lineman, outside of Stoner's theory, I'm going to go nickel safety, corner / or a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Just covering all the bases.
I mean, outside of offensive line, it's either nickel safety or the backup. They're going to go first.
Are they going to have one of those? Wednesday is legal tampering.
Monday's
right?
legal tampering.
Monday's legal tampering. Wednesday is the actual start.
Yeah.
Are they going to come out? Are we going to wake up on Monday morning and Commanders have come to terms, because you can't say signed until Wednesday, have come to an agreement with so-and-so?
Yes.
I don't think so.
I do.
Because
this is Ron's last year. It's EB's first year. We ain't got time to wait. We're trying to attack it, be aggressive. What did EB say? We're going to do whatever the hell it takes to win games. So
sure.
I think we might be aggressive this year. We might, because outside of John Keim and Christine and Kimberly Martin, the whole Lamar thing, apparently we're not interested. Other than that, we haven't said anything about anything else acquiring the roster. And I think when Monday comes, it's going to be boom, 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 boom.
Well, one thing they have said that we haven't even talked about yet, that I don't know where you guys stand, but they have said they're happy with the tight end room.
Yeah.
Right. They have made that known throughout. Right? They haven't said we're happy with the defensive line room. They haven't said anything but they have publicly said we're happy with this tight end room, which I don't know if that's a play. You know what I mean? They're trying to get it out there so that they won't see at 16 they're going to take the kid from Georgia or the Notre Dame kid or the Utah kid or whatever that is. Or do you think they are actually happy with the tight end position?
And it's funny you asked that, because he said that about that position and the QB. That's it.
And haven't talked really about any other position.
No, which makes you think that
that's interesting.
They're pay attention to Twitter, clearly.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of proved
that. Well, I know what they are doing. They are paying attention to this show.
Yeah, I know. And for sure,
everyone watches this show. Everyone's liked this video, subscribed to the channel.
We got 20 likes for crying out loud.
Are they saying these two positions, as in saying we're going to address these positions first when free agency starts? Is that what that? Like, there's got to be a method to that. Like, you're right, Stoner. They feel confident in Sam Howell, and they feel confident in the tight end room. And here we all thought Logan Thomas was probably a cap casualty or cut, but he threw him in there, saying Logan come back after ACL. He's going to have a great year next year. So it's like,
what's going on, Trev?
What's going on, Stoner?
They're playing games with us.
I'm on the tinfoil hat here.
It smells quite fishy.
Where's our conspiracy theory music?
Yeah, you're the one who's supposed to download that one. You're supposed to have the conspiracy
I have it. I just can't.
That's a good question.
I might give you a bad one. The wrong music.
The wrong one. So I don't share in your guys' conspiracy theory.
Okay. So you think they are happy with the tight end room?
Happy's probably a stronger word than I would use. Right. I think
Content.
that they
said happy.
That room.
Ron said happy.
Coach speak, guys. Okay. Coach speak.
Oh, yeah.
All right, just checking.
They looked at it. They're looking at the roster and they're like, okay, our tight ends are probably on a scale from 1 to 10 at like a 6.5. But there's places that are like 4 or 3s that they're like, we have to fix those. So we're going to ignore this 6.5, 7.5, wherever you want to put the tight end room, because you're like, I can work with that. I can work with an aging Logan Thomas. I can work with perhaps an emerging Amani Rodgers. Bates is a solid blocking guy. And Cole Turner is this freak, big guy that you're just like, yeah, maybe that there's some potential there. So I don't think they're necessarily happy. I think that they're just looking elsewhere to improve the roster.
Yeah. And I think they will restructure Logan. I really do. And I think
Command this podcast. Yeah.
I think they will restructure. It just makes too much sense because it is a larger cap hit.
He ain't gonna
Yeah.
get picked up nowhere else.
But I also I discovered, we talked about earlier, I discovered Anthony Richardson. I also discovered Amani Rodgers. I was on Amani Rodgers in training camp. I was all.
So Stoner is muted for our audio listeners. I'm not going to drop him physically, but I'm going to mute him with all this discovery talk. I will now unmute him. He's physically for our audio listeners, he's physically patting himself on the back. All right, Stoner, we're going to allow you back in. Curb your enthusiasm on that kind of talk there. Yes, the tight end room, I don't necessarily think it's going to get addressed in the way that people are wanting it to, right? They're not going to grab one of these sexy names in the draft. I don't think they're going to grab the Miami guy who does the kids gritty. That's not where they're going to go. They need to address something else. The thing is this front office has historically kind of been a little bit slow in free agency. They did William Jackson, they've done Fitzpatrick, they've made a couple moves in the beginning, but then they really slow down and just kind of get those mid-tier guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what you're going to see more of this year. They might go after one or two guys to help. And I do think offensive linemen is where they're going to head. And where they go is going to be very telling on how they feel about Sam Cosmi. If they go with a tackle in free agency, especially to start free agency, then they're likely moving Sam Cosmi into guard. If they go with guard, they're going to keep Sam Cosmi out at right tackle.
For sure.
So that's definitely something to kind of pay attention to there. And I do think that they need to address linebacker here and get somebody to come in. Maybe a guy like Azeez Al-Shahir. I'm probably butchering that name like no other. But that's a young guy, 26. He's buried on the depth chart in San Francisco. But I mean, he's behind Fred Warner and Dre Greenclaw. So, I mean, like if you're the third best linebacker out of those guys, you could still be a pretty darn good linebacker and starter for somebody else. And probably cheap.
Because you're a third guy.
And so I think that's where I'm leaning is they're probably going to go with one upper mid-tier guy to start with.
Okay.
And then they're going to slow back down and they're going to wait for those bargain bins towards the end once the market's settled. Whether or not that's because the money or just because that's how this free agency goes, I don't see Eric Bieniemy changing it so much right now of going out and attacking to win. I think when he says that we're going to do whatever it takes to win, he's talking his offensive philosophy. If it's, running Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson 50 times a game to win, then he's going to do that. If it's Sam Howell or QB1 throwing the ball 50 times to win, then he's going to do that. It's not so much on the player personnel and acquiring these pieces. I don't know how much, they've given him. I mean, he is the assistant head coach. So I imagine he has to have some kind of pull, but how much pull when you have Ron Rivera, coach-centric team, and two GMs that you have to convince, like, this is the guy that we're going to have to go after?
If you make a move in getting Eric Bieniemy and promote him and make him assistant head coach and offensive coordinator, I think you kind of hand him the keys already to do whatever the hell he wants to do on offense. And I know we have been kind of a timid team when it comes to free agency, but maybe Eric Bieniemy changes that. Maybe he likes the tight end room, but what if they don't fit what he's trying to do on the offense? We got to go get a guy that does fit it. Like, I know we don't have a Travis Kelce. We're not trying to be the Chiefs, but our tight ends are nowhere near Travis Kelce or even Noah Gray on that Kansas City squad team. So maybe you go get a stud receiver that fits that scheme. Like, I just think that if you bring in a guy like Eric Bieniemy, there's no time to be timid. This is Ron's maybe last year. We're about to sell the team.
And so that's what troubles that though.
Yes,
and I saw it in the comment section. Sorry, I'm not going to be able to scroll to find out who put this out there. But someone said like it's Dan Snyder's last year with the team. Like Dan Snyder doesn't care that it's Ron's last go.
Well, maybe
this is his team. He's getting rid of this.
Yeah, like people keep saying on Twitter, maybe he lands a big time free agent and says, "Here you go, new owner. Have fun with that contract. I'm out." because it's the last one. So maybe this could be, a year for. I mean, this is so new for us. I have never gone through a team sell, and I've never had an offensive corner like Eric Bieniemy. So maybe we are just gonna spend and go get whoever's, especially for like so close that everybody says. Then go get that so close piece. Don't be timid and wait for. Well, he might take less money tomorrow, and then
you guys are dancing with the devil right now because
I know exactly what you're wanting to get to, Stoner, and that is if you're going to hit hard in free agency, there is one particular name out there that's causing a lot of fire, and I'm not going to bury the lead when we get to it here in the cool down because we're going to be talking about QBs on the move. And Lamar Jackson could be on the move. All that's coming up here on the cool down.
The cool down is brought to you by Manscaped. Ever since my Nathan started using their products, I can't cool down. Fellas, trust me. Go to Manscaped right now and get 20% off and free shipping by using the code REF. Your ladies will appreciate you. Now back to Trev, Stoner, and my Manscaped man, Nathan.
I got to get it out to manscaped.com and I got to get that beard trimmer. I know it's just kind of scruff right now, but I am nearing my retirement from the Air Force. And so this beard is going to start growing and be a nice full flush beard. Nice. And Manscaped's got me covered. They got a beard trimmer and you can head out there and use the code REF, get yourself 20% off and free shipping out at manscaped.com. Before we hit that break, Trav, you set us up perfectly. I couldn't have segued it better with your comment there with EB, with the team. Is this the time to be aggressive and go after your guy? A lot of people are on the Sam Howell train. A lot of people. Yeah. A lot of people are putting on some blinders, though, and ignoring everything else that is out there. And namely, Lamar Jackson was given the non-exclusive franchise tag by Baltimore, which means that he can go out and negotiate. And yes, a lot of people like to point out that he's his own agent as if it's like a bad thing. I don't get it, but it is what it is. He can go out and talk with teams and negotiate a deal. Baltimore can match it, and he will still play for Baltimore. So Baltimore's letting Lamar set the market for himself. Now, here's the thing. Baltimore doesn't want to sign him. The team that does sign him trades away 2 firsts. Mm-hmm. And that's it. You pay the man, and you trade 2 firsts, and you get Lamar Jackson. This is going to be an interesting conversation for us 3 gentlemen. And the reason why I think it's going to be interesting is because we're all on the same page, which means that I have to play devil's advocate to try to poke holes in things when I don't want to, guys, because normally I let you two be the calm or the kind of the guys who are out there and have all these crazy takes and everything. And I'm the kind of the nice and steady one who's just like dictating traffic. I can't do that with this one because, oh my Lord, all day on Twitter, I'm losing my dang on mind on people who are anti-Lamar Jackson. I just don't understand it. Like they are justifying to themselves, MG in the chat here, that Lamar Jackson would be awful for Washington. I don't understand that. I don't understand where they're like, oh, you can't pay a QB that. Yes, you can. In fact, teams do it. Teams did it last year for Deshaun Watson. Yes. New York Giants just paid Daniel Jones more money than Patrick Mahomes gets. You cannot tell me that the former MVP, a QB that is just, is a franchise QB isn't worth the money. You can't convince me otherwise. Okay. People bring up the 1-3 record in the playoffs as if Washington hasn't been 2-6 since winning the last Super Bowl. Ooh, we would love to be 1-3 in the last 4 years in the playoffs. Are you kidding me?
That means we made it.
We had this conversation, did we not, gentlemen, on whether or not you'd want to sell your soul essentially to win 1 Super Bowl and be terrible for 19 years or be competitive for a decade. And a lot of people took that side of being competitive for a decade. You want to be competitive for a decade, you get Lamar Jackson. All right, now that I've said my piece, I'll be devil's advocate, and we'll go back to you guys there. But I'm sorry, I was a little heated.
Yeah, it makes sense. That's perfectly understandable, feeling that way. And I think Trev and I kind of, for the most part, feel that way. There's probably 100 different reasons why they should not sign him, but there is one reason why you should. And it's because he will make you an instant contender. Period. Don't give me this, he's washed. Don't give me this, that he's injury prone. Don't give me this, that he runs too much. Don't give me this, that his completion percentage isn't as high as some of the top quarterbacks. You should do whatever it takes to get Lamar Jackson. They're not going to go after Lamar Jackson. We all know this.
Yeah.
We're not talking as a front office. We're talking as a fan, whether you want Lamar Jackson quarterbacking your team. And of course you would want Lamar Jackson quarterbacking your team. Give them 2 first-round picks. Give them your entire draft this year, plus next year's entire draft, plus $250 million guaranteed. I don't care. He instantly makes you a contender for the playoffs, for the Super Bowl every single year, just like Baltimore has been, even when he hasn't finished seasons the last 2 years. So try and look at it from that point as a fan. They're not going to do it. We understand that.
To piggyback on that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know this guy. It's kind of not a good comparison, but it is. Just take away the championships for this one player, Kevin Durant. Prime example. Some consider him the best player in the league, on the planet. He's won MVPs. Lamar's won MVPs. Kevin Durant has started to become injury prone, quote unquote. So is Lamar Jackson. So y'all mean to tell me, as fans, when y'all found out that Kevin Durant this summer wanted to be traded to Phoenix even before the trade happened, y'all all were, the fans were like, oh no, like he tore his Achilles, like he had his foot on the 3-point line and he couldn't even beat Giannis, like he only got a ring because of Steph. That's Kevin freaking Durant. If you have a chance to go get Kevin freaking Durant, you go get him. Absolutely. He might not agree with the chance, but if you have that chance, you take it. Lamar 100%. Jackson, I know, like Snyder said, they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
This is what they're saying. But if I am, as a fan and as a front office, as the New York City street talk on TikTok used to be, what's up, baby? Take me out to dinner. I'm taking that man out to dinner, and we can have a conversation, and we're going to see what he's talking about at least. He might be astronomical, and we'd be like, yeah, that's crazy talk. But at least we tried. So if you got a chance as a fan, you take the chance, bro. This is Lamar Jackson. You mean to tell me you're like, nah, I'm good. We'll go with Sam Howell because he beat the Cowboys last year. It's Lamar Jackson. We have a chance. Try it.
You at least make the phone call. You let Lamar Jackson tell you no, right? Like you don't.
It's his own agent, so he is going to tell you no.
You jumping out, and this isn't just directed at Washington. All these QB needy teams are waving their hands and be like, nope, not going to go after this guy. We're a year removed from Deshaun Watson having multiple teams fight after him. While he is under 22 separate allegations, they fought after him. After a year of not playing football, they fought after him. Okay. Cleveland traded 3 firsts and then some, then paid him $250 million. Lamar Jackson's going to cost you 2 firsts. And
at most, you can negotiate that down.
Yeah, it's going to cost you 2 firsts. Like it's at most 2 firsts. It's going to cost you 2 firsts. This is a franchise quarterback, and then he's going to be like $250 million plus dollars. I got it. And yes, I realize that is a huge hit to your cap. And and here's the thing. You only win Super Bowls if you're lucky enough. By the way, a lot of people like to do this, like you can only win if you're have a QB on a rookie deal. How many QBs on a rookie deals have won a Super Bowl in like the last 10 years? Would you guys want to give me a guess?
That have won
that have one on their rookie deal.
Well, I think Mahomes, his first one might have been on a rookie
it was.
deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not last
That
year.
was it though. That was it though, wasn't it?
Is that
It's
it?
not everyone wants to say that that's the way you build a team. That's how you can build a contender.
One way.
That's how you can build a contender, but it's not how you're necessarily winning a Super Bowl. Now, people can debate all they want about Lamar Jackson, whether or not he can win in the playoffs, whether or not he can take you to the Super Bowl, whatnot. The fact of the matter is, this is a QB that can absolutely help you win football games, and you're going to have to pay for that.
Literally.
And yes, absolutely, literally. And if you're a Sam Howell guy, I get it, and you want to back Sam Howell and put all the tools around him and all this other stuff, great. Eventually, though, you're going to have to pay Sam Howell if he's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Are you walking away from Sam Howell when he asks for $250 million? Which, by the way, if he's the guy,
He's going to
in 4 years from now, he's going to get more than $250 million. Okay, that's how the market works. So again, it's not about Washington actually getting him. I would love it. I would think it would be great for the team. And I think that, like, this, to me, a lot of people are like, Dan Snyder's isn't going to, it's not a lot younger. They're both 26 years of age when they
actually Deshaun is actually older by a year.
Just
throwing that out there. Deshaun is 27 and Lamar's
they're both hit the open market at 26 years of age.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is, again, just you have to, as a franchise, do your due diligence. You have to go and ask. Get outbid right away. Be like, hey, Lamar, we have heard the rumors that they tried paying, offering you like 160. We would give you 190 and have him laugh and walk away. It's not going to hurt you. Mm-mm. It's not going to hurt you. Mm-hmm. If you offer him 190, even all guaranteed for 4 or 5 years or whatnot, if he's just like, nope, sorry, I'm looking for more than that, then you're like, okay, hey, at least we went out. You kicked the tires on every gosh darn QB last year, very publicly.
Yes.
And this year, you're trying to say that no, we're not gonna do it. You're not gonna stick to Sam Howell, by the way, because you've made it clear as day he is not your starter week 1. He is QB one right now because he's the only QB on the roster. You've made that very clear. And now you're telling me you're not going to go out. That's where I take umbrage. I'm not saying you have to, and Stoner's thing about, the Mike Ditka trade of, just trading everything. You don't have to. You give up 2 first-round picks. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know about that. Deshaun Watson cost Cleveland 3. How much did Russell Wilson go for? I forgot to look that up before this, but it cost picks to get yourself into a QB who's setting you up for a decade. 2 first-round picks. If this works out, you're picking in the late 20s or the 30s.
Look what the Jets are going to have to do to get Aaron Rodgers. They're going to have to do something crazy too, and Aaron Rodgers is old. You got maybe 2 years with Aaron Rodgers. With Lamar Jackson, if you go play him for 2 years, only 2 years, it's because of injury. Yep.
You're going to be blessed to get 10 years of good QB play. So just, again, I'm sorry. I said I was going to calm down and I was going to let you guys kind of go off and do some things, but I keep looking at some of the things that people were saying. One of the things that I kind of, and I'm not going to call them out on their Twitter handles. I'm just going to kind of talk generally because they're not the only ones who are saying this. A lot of people were like, why not back Sam Howell? Why walk away? Everyone says develop a rookie, but then for the one time you get a rookie, you're not going to sit and develop him. Okay, this is a 5th round rookie with 1 start under his belt. This isn't a first rounder. This isn't Josh Rosen, who was a first rounder with several starts that you're walking away from. By the way, Arizona did that. This is Lamar
Jackson we're talking about. Okay, it's not every day where an MVP quarterback is available just because his former team doesn't want to pay him. That doesn't happen every year. Okay, so when it does happen and you have a chance, pick up the phone.
You do whatever it takes. And somebody, and I don't know who, you can talk all about this collusion that the owners are going through right now and that they're not going to give him something bigger than Deshaun because they don't want these contracts getting out. You can talk about that all you want. Somebody is going to break out of that pack and they are going to sign Lamar Jackson. They can sit there in their little meetings or whatever and their little drinking at the bar, at the club, at the cigar club, and say, we can't sign Lamar because it's going to ruin everything or whatever. And somebody's going to say, yeah, you're right. Then they're going to go back and they're going to look at it and they're going to say, oh, so if we sign Lamar, we're an instant contender, and our sales of all of our gear and everything are going to go through the roof, and we're going to all of a sudden be the darling of, you know what? I'm signing him for $250 million. Guaranteed. Somebody will do it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's going to be one of the teams that came out and said they're not interested. This is all a play. I'm starting to do conspiracy stuff now. All the teams that came out are quarterback needy teams that said that they don't want them. I think that they probably weren't anticipating any other team to come out and say it. So maybe they're saying, hey, throw your name out there too and see who else is going to join us saying they're not going to go after Lamar Jackson, and see who has stock to it and who doesn't. I'm just saying, because like it's just weird how every quarterback needy team has been patiently waiting, and all their Twitters are like, oh, if he comes available, would you sign him? Yes. And the day it happens, it's like, nah, we good.
Yeah, we good.
Okay.
Yeah. We good with Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, we're good with Desmond Ritter.
I was about to go after the NFC South. The NFC South just signed Derek Carr to $150 million. And now he instantly became their best quarterback in that league. You're telling me one of those teams
Panthers
doesn't want a Lamar Jackson? Come on, get out of here with that.
Somebody will sign him to.
You're gonna go.
I don't know if he's going to
Carolina. Really?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to go past Watson. I think he probably will, but I'm not going to put that out.
Just
there
a reminder that Kyler Murray actually already topped him in like the total,
but not
numbers.
in guarantees.
Not in guarantees,
right? I'm talking about in guarantees.
You think that the guarantees numbers will be higher, but it's the
I think
they're gonna. You're right. He's going to do something where, and this is where. Everyone I said it before, everyone likes to throw out he's his own agent and that's hurting him. And it's not helping. I will say that. I don't necessarily think that it's as big a detriment as people mention, but this is where the negotiation would help, right? The agent would come in and be like, listen, to get you signed, we understand that you're looking for Deshaun Watson contract. Well, we might not be able to get that, but we can get you maybe 260 and 200 of it's guaranteed.
Right.
Which is the highest guaranteed ever,
because somebody put up there what would be our max offer for Lamar. And I was going to say I would offer 200 to 230 guaranteed over like a 250.
Yeah.
Because, and
but
the
if you
reason
get that high, you got to go past Deshaun, though.
But here's why I don't go past Deshaun. Injuries. No.
Once you're at that level, what's the difference between 200 and 240?
I know.
When you're talking about injuries,
I know.
You're still going to give him 200 million.
Look, but it's a fact. Just look at it. When he goes down, the team does not make the playoffs, and they had a very good defense. They had some weapons. I know they said they didn't, but Hollywood Brown was there. Duvernay is not bad.
Well, they had an all-pro behind him.
Mark Andrews, So, he had weapons. So, when he gets injured, the team falls. Now, I know when he gets there, he can get us to, make us better and sell us tickets and get us to – but do we really want to spend all that money if he's going to get us to where it's like crunch time for playoffs, he gets hurt and then leaves us in quarterback purgatory every year?
You know who else could do that? Sam Howell.
Yeah, but
you know who else? Patrick Mahomes. It can happen. He's not injury prone. He's only won one MVP, and he has not won a Super Bowl. Hasn't been. Pat Mahomes has 2 MVPs. He's been in the AFC Championship 4 years in a row. That's what I'm saying. Like, he doesn't have to be Mahomes,
but
he just has to be Lamar Jackson.
But I know. But I'm just looking. I'm devil's advocate right now. Just think about it. I'm not dismissing his talent at all. He could get you there, but he hasn't proven that yet. Realistically, one MVP. He's been in the playoffs 4 times and exited out in the first round, I believe, almost every time. Now, Pat Mahomes,
they have won
3 times. He's won 1 playoff game.
Pat Mahomes has been to 4 or 5 straight AFC championships. Won how many? Won 2 Super Bowls. He's got a great contract. I'm not saying don't pay Lamar guaranteed 200 plus, but you still got to be careful. You don't want to spend all of that in a quarterback who can't finish a season for you and can get you a regular season title, MVP. Cool, but are we trying to win MVPs or Super Bowls?
Well, if you're winning MVPs, your chances for a Super Bowl have increased exponentially.
You
big time.
You're
You see what I'm
a
saying,
competitor.
Though? You see
You're
what I'm saying though? Like
they don't give MVPs to guys on teams who finish 8-1. They give MVPs to guys who are in the playoffs.
The year he won
12-4 or whatever.
The year he won the MVP, but did they?
I think they were 12-4. They might have even been 13-3.
Playoff game, or did he lose the first round?
No, I think they lost that year. It was the year after that they won their first round playoff game. I'm just saying that you're gonna be 12-4, and we're gonna complain because they lost the first round. You might be pissed, but
that's what
you're starting to work your way.
That brings me back to the Nathan's question: 19 years of being competitive in there, or win a Super Bowl in one out of those 19 years.
Well, they still have a chance to win a Super Bowl at some point.
What would you take though, based on what you just said? You wouldn't be mad at 12-4. Would you be happy at 12-4 for 19 years in a row, or win a Super Bowl in the next 2 years?
Win a Super Bowl and then lose every game for 19 straight years. I don't care.
Brings me back to devil's advocate. Do you really want to pay Lamar Jackson?
But he hasn't proven. He hasn't. You can't say he's never going to win a Super Bowl just because he's on that path of your hypothetical situation.
So then, do you give him less guaranteed money based on that hypothetical?
No, of course
like
not.
190, like Nathan said, 190, 180 guaranteed.
I think if I'm Lamar, though, I think it would be smart to go the Kirk Cousins route and go with
a shorter deal.
Yeah, he's 26 now. What if he gets 3 years?
That's good, man.
Like an Aaron Rodgers contract, a 3 year, $50 million.
I don't understand Aaron Rodgers' contract because I'm just talking about the Kirk Cousins deal. 3 years. $150 million, fully guaranteed. Each year, $50 million, $50 million, $50 million against the cap.
If I'm Lamar,
that's what I would do. Then I'm a free agent again at 29.
Yeah, and I can control the narrative.
And then I can do a 5-year, $300 million deal where 270 is guaranteed or whatever at 29. I'd bet on myself. That's what Kirk Cousins did. Kirk Cousins got all those guaranteed deals from Minnesota. I think he's now on his third one, his original one. Then he got an extension, all guaranteed. Then he got another extension, all guaranteed. That's what I would do if I was Lamar. I would just keep racking up those guaranteed years instead of those weird contracts where Kyler is like, or Mahomes and Rodgers. They have these $450 million deals, but like 170 is guaranteed. It's I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not personally guaranteeing him over $200 million. I'm just not doing it.
I kind of like it. I doubt.
What if he said 198? You're like, nope, 200 is my max. You're still screwed if he gets injured for 198.
Gus
Bus that sounds way better than 200.
Gus Bus here with if you heard me chuckling earlier on the audio platform, it's because Gus Bus had this comment. Trev negotiating contracts like going to a steakhouse and not ordering desserts because suddenly it's too expensive.
But when you heard the whole year long it wasn't expensive, and you get there, they jack the prices up on like the afternoon that you get there, you had no idea. I don't know. It's just tough because of his injury.
It's tough.
And his talent.
Some team is going to sign him. It's not likely to be Washington. I'm just saying you got to do due diligence. By the way, it was the 2020 season that Baltimore won their playoff game. So,
but it was 2019 when he was MVP, right?
It was 2019 when he's MVP. Yeah,
unanimous MVP, you might add. Not maybe he's MVP. Yeah, I'll put him at 1. No. Everybody put him at 1.
Gus, someone commented, maybe it was Doug, who said he was horrible in those games. Yeah, he wasn't great. In fact, he's never actually been all that great in the playoffs. But that's what happens when your team is that much worse than the opposing team. Like this is, if you look at Tennessee, right? Like this is Derrick Henry maybe the best running back of his generation, and the team around him is poo-poo. And now they're having dismantled because they went with Ryan Tannehill as their
isn't that crazy how we say they're poo-poo, but they were usually like the past 5 years, the 1 seed in the AFC or the 2 seed.
One seed before.
I'm not saying they're so When
It's
I say the
weird.
team was poo-poo, if you look at the playoff caliber teams,
Oh yeah,
like at a talent level, they were playing above their talent level, right?
Mhm.
Again, Ryan Tannehill is not Patrick Mahomes.
yeah.
The offensive line did their work. That's great. Derrick Henry, a full, he's a truck, not a man. He's a truck. Great. But that defense can only do so much when your offense can't score. You have AJ Brown and you're not be able to use him because, oh, by the way, Ryan Tannehill is your quarterback.
That's crazy to me.
Would you, here's
All
another
right.
hypothetical.
I love him.
Okay.
And yes, I'm aware, Doug, that the Ravens lost to the Titans.
Would you sign, okay, let's just say you sign Lamar to $250 million guaranteed. Okay. And he's going to count 40 some million this year. I don't know if you've looked at like the Wilson contract and like the Rodgers contract. It's kind of a side note here. I think Wilson's dead cap this year is like 109 million if they were to cut him or whatever. But anyway, would you take Lamar Jackson and his probably 40 some million dollars against the cap this year, and you had to trot out Leno, Norwell,
Yes.
Rouye, Trey Turner, and Cosme as your offensive line?
Same offensive line he had in Baltimore.
Same offensive line that Washington had
Yes.
last year.
Yes.
But now you have Lamar Jackson.
Look at his offensive line in Baltimore. I can't name any of them on the line, and he did what he did with that offensive line. So
They have that center. I love their center. Tyler Linderbaum. He
oh
was
yeah,
there.
from Notre Dame. I
Just
wanted
had
him there.
Orlando Brown Jr. for some years, but that's another.
But I'm just asking,
Yes.
would you take Lamar Jackson with the
Yeah,
exact
just
same
give it
offensive
away.
line that was horrific last year? Of course you
Yes,
Yes.
because he's the most horrible.
So
yeah.
because
that's what you would have to do
you'd
because
have
you
to,
couldn't
yeah.
afford any.
Look
new
at
offensive
Aaron
line.
Rodgers has had some pretty bad lines, but it's Aaron Rodgers. He improves the line play there, and it's
Yep.
also the offensive scheme. This is why you hired Eric Bieniemy. Okay, you hired him to make your offensive better. With a better QB, you're going to get better. So let's move on from Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
I think we've worn this out. We've all gotten excited. We've pushed it, our agenda out there. Washington's not going to sign him. None of us, Yahoos. You might have, MG was threatening to leave earlier. I waved him by. I got it. It is what it is. We're just saying you got to make the phone call.
Yep.
Not going to happen.
And
but
what are
it is what it is.
What are the percentages? What is the percent chance that Washington signs Lamar Jackson? Nathan.
0.1.
Trev.
100. As long as there's a chance, there's 100% chance.
Okay. Well, that means it's going to happen.
Yeah, that you're
And the
guaranteeing
same
that they
people who are
sign him.
saying no, Lamar, no. When the deal happens, going to be buying season tickets and buying
good.
gear. So just whatever.
Yeah, I'm at even less.
They must
than
be part of the
0.1.
Heineke hive. Is what all these people are.
I'm at 0.0.
Oh, Ben Powers. I don't even know who Ben Powers was. My point exactly. Ronnie Stanley. He's barely plays. He's barely healthy.
Yeah. Again, we spent far too much time on guys who were
curious.
we're
It's
0.1 or lower. It's
not happening.
It's not going to happen. I think most of us were just kind of like I said, we got excited about this because if you listen to the fan base here, and this is my last point to make. I'm going to move off it. I swear to goodness. I'm moving off of it. I promise you. This fan base is like Lamar Jackson's QB1, right? He is literally the top QB available out there right now that you can potentially sign to your team. And more people are more interested in signing Orlando Brown Jr., who's the top offensive lineman, and that just drives me nuts. Your team doesn't have a QB1 of MVP caliber. You have a developmental 5th round QB who I love. I'm a flipping howler.
Yeah, but
this is Lamar Jackson. All right, now we're moving away. Other QBs on the move. I mentioned earlier, Derek Carr got signed by the New Orleans Saints.
Mm-hmm.
Good point there. $150 million is his contract. They're over the cap. They still made it work.
Yeah. Funny how that works, right?
But that means that 2 QBs from their roster are going to be making the move. Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. Yeah. You two
I'm good.
dislike Jameis Winston. I was more than happy to get him last year as our QB before we ended up with Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you two stand this year?
In the unemployment line where they're going to be at? Right behind them in the unemployment line where they're going to be at.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I don't want these retreads that have had minuscule success. Jameis Winston had one good year. Just remember a few years ago, he threw 30 picks, 30 touchdowns, but 30 picks.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt. Like, I don't want somebody who's getting older and can't be durable and has just been bouncing around. Andy Dalton, you have been great since Cincinnati and TCU. I know you're serviceable, but we're trying to win right now, okay? I don't want them. Give me somebody who's a better, more successful backup quarterback that can also fit the scheme of Eric Bieniemy. Andy Dalton's a statue. You saw what John Bostic did to him a couple years ago. We killed that man. Mm-hmm. And then you got Jameis Winston, who's not as mobile as he once was before, obviously, either. So it's time to start looking at quarterbacks that can fit our RPO and this and that offensive scheme. So both of them, nah.
And I need you to clarify before I can answer.
What up?
For QB1 or QB2 or
would you sign them to the roster?
No.
Yeah. Yes, I would. I would sign either one of them. Absolutely.
Which one of them would you prefer, and for which position?
I would prefer Andy Dalton as QB2 because he won't threaten Sam Howell at QB1. He would beat him out if it was a fair competition. It's rigged, right? The problem with Jameis Winston as QB2, I think he would threaten Sam Howell for QB1.
Who?
Jameis Winston, okay. Sam Howell is here as a quarterback. And Jameis Winston is right way up here.
You've got to be kidding me right now.
Comparatively speaking.
All right, I'm doing it. I'm going to Jameis Winston stats. I'm doing it.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Trev. I'm headed there.
Jameis Winston is about 75,000 times better.
You're about 75,000 times high right now because that's ludicrous.
So he's going to threaten Sam Howell. That's why I don't want him. It's the same kind of reason I don't want Taylor Heineke here. Not because he's better, but because he would threaten just because of the fan base. It's a different
2015. Yeah. 4,000 yards, 22 touchdowns, 15 picks, 84.2 rating. 16, 4,000 yards, 28 and 18, 86.
God, you would pray for stats like that from
30. Sam. We had him. His name is Taylor Heineke. 3,500, 19 and 11 and 92. 2018, just under 3,000 yards, 19 touchdowns, 14 picks, 90 rating. 2019, these are all with Tampa Bay. 5,000 yards, woo! 33 touchdowns, woo! 30 interceptions.
Oh, 30.
2020.
Everyone keeps saying 30 for 30, but it's 33 and 30.
2020, New Orleans, 75 yards, 0, 0, and 83 rating. 2021, 1,100 yards, 14 and 3. Okay. And then last year, 858 before getting hurt, 4 and 5. I'm good on that, bro.
I'm going to answer Gus Bus. Gus Bus is saying, so Stoner, you don't want to have a QB on our team who is 75,000 times better than Sam Howell. No, I do not. Because this team, Jameis Winston is not the future of the Commanders.
How old is Jameis?
Sam Howell is potentially the future. So I want them to go all in on Sam Howell if that's what they're going to do. I don't want them to bring in a quarterback who could possibly beat him out in a competition. unless we're talking about Lamar Jackson, obviously, then then you can kick Sam Howell to the curb. I don't care one way or another about him. I don't even want him as the backup. He's not experienced enough to be the backup. So I don't even want him as the backup.
He was a backup last year.
But yeah, that's the problem with Jameis Winston. So that's to answer your question. Yes, I would want Andy Dalton as QB2. No, I don't want Jameis Winston here because he would threaten Sam Howell's QB1.
I will take either one of them on this roster. I already told you guys last year, I think Jameis Winston is a legit QB. I don't think he's a great QB, but I mean, people are out here fawning over Derek Carr. Like, how are you not in love with a guy who threw for 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns?
That's right.
The man got LASIK after those 30 interceptions, by the way, and has seemingly, improved
really seen the
himself.
field.
He's
Seen the
hasn't really
bench.
seen the field a lot. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
well, he was injured, and then there's a lot of stuff going on. I
It hurt
don't
his
think,
soul.
for the record, I don't think that he would immediately unseat Sam Howell. I do think that
No, I
out
don't
of
think
the
he will
two,
either.
out of the
All right.
two, that Jameis Winston would give more of a run for the money on a QB1 spot to Sam Howell than Andy Dalton. I do think that if Andy Dalton comes here, he's QB2. They're not even looking at him at QB1.
That's right.
Unless Sam Howell absolutely just is a mess in
Mhm.
OTAs and training camp, Andy Dalton would be signed on to be QB2.
I know
Jameis Winston, however, would be a QB competition, and it might be kind of an iron sharpens iron, or whatever weak metal might sharpen weak metal, depending on your takes on these QBs. But I think you couldn't go wrong with either on this roster to help. I think that they're kind of on the upper tier of the bottom tier of QBs available, right? Like when you're talking, obviously Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, these guys are top
Jimmy G?
tier available this time. Derek Carr's already gone, even though I was very low on him. Now you have Marcus Mariota, you have Gardner Minshew, you have Cooper Rush, you have, guys like
Baker
Andy
Mayfield.
Dalton and Baker Mayfield who might stay with the Rams. I would be good with Baker Mayfield here. I think that he's kind of got that moxie, and that he honestly, if you're talking, if people were like Eric Bieniemy, he doesn't know how to run the offense, and then Mahomes does all these off, script things. Baker Mayfield can run off script, so that would be somebody who would be okay to be here. And Andy Dalton would be low on my list, but he would still be, reasonable backup to Sam Howell. Jameis Winston, I think, would be a very interesting quarterback for this team to pick up.
Take away Andy Dalton, keep Jameis Winston, and add Mitch Trubisky. Who you taking?
Between who?
Jameis Winston and Mitch Trubisky.
For Washington?
Yep.
Well,
come on.
I'm going to take the guy who's not going to threaten.
So who
Sam Howell.
out of those two?
So I'm taking Trubisky.
You don't think he'll threaten Sam Howell?
No.
28
Mitch
years
Trubisky, poop. He is poopy.
I had way more hope for him last year.
Yeah.
In fact, last year on our channel, when we did our QB rankings, I was fairly high on Mitch Trubisky, thinking that he had several good, decent years in Chicago. He got to sit behind
Josh Allen,
and Daboll there as the coach. And it was just like, hey, this is all going to be good. Come to Washington. I was happy with that. Then he goes to Pittsburgh, and he's not very good. He's not
very good at all. I don't. If you're going to go with Sam Howell as QB1, as they have soft sold us on this idea, then I want a guy who's not going to threaten him. But if you're not sold on him, then go get an upper level type starter. Go get you a Jimmy G.
I would like that.
Like that. But don't bring in a guy who, like a Baker Mayfield. That's bad. That's bad for Sam Howell.
He could beat Sam Howell.
Baker Mayfield would probably, in a fair competition,
he would probably beat. Yeah,
he definitely would beat him.
Yeah.
But in an unfair, a stacked, a rigged competition for Sam Howell, Baker Mayfield might still beat him out just because of where he is and his talent level. I know Baker Mayfield will go into practice every day and just look like the best quarterback they've ever seen in Washington, right? But then they'll be sitting there all the time. They're going to be saying, well, we want Sam Howell because he's the future. Baker's on a 1-year, $5 million deal, and he's not our future. Sam's our future, so Sam's going to play. And then you're screwed. I don't want any of that.
Are you guys happy that, well, at least publicly, we didn't go after Derek Carr? You guys happy about that?
Oh, yeah, so happy.
At least we didn't pick up the phone.
So
I am too. So let's just say,
Gino,
could you imagine paying Derek?
I was going to say, yeah. What if he came here?
$150 million.
Do you think honestly he would improve our team if we gave him that deal, him or Gino? Do you think that we could get
improve from last year or improve from Sam Howell?
Both. Start with from last year.
I think they would probably be fairly the same.
With both,
but would they improve on Sam Howell? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the answer is they probably improve both, right? I mean, you're talking a second-year, fifth-round rookie. I know people like to throw out he could have been drafted in the first round. He was drafted in the fifth round, people.
Yeah, he chose the same school.
So it's probably an improvement on both. It's not the improvement you're wanting to pay for, though.
Right.
It's really no different to me than not paying Kirk Cousins. Like, Kirk Cousins got paid a lot of money to do what?
Take a snap up under the guard into the center.
and so there's a big thing there, and I'm gonna shout out Roger real quick, who hit like the trifecta of the mid QBs that I absolutely love.
He was a David
Roger Smith. You give up a 6th round pick for Davis Mills, and you have a real competition. I was very high on Davis Mills coming out of that draft. I really wanted Washington to get him in like the 3rd or 4th round. He got snapped up before Washington could take him there. But I don't know. I think Sam Howell probably beats out Davis Mills. I think that there's a lot. Davis Mills, I think, is a fine backup quarterback. Houston's definitely going to move on probably with Richardson in the draft. But Sam Howell does provide this team with some mobility, right? He's a QB who can move. You're not necessarily making him a running QB, even though he ran for like 800 yards his last college season, but he has that mobility, and you're going to try something. He's not your prototypical QB build.
So that's who you want. You would want your QB room to be Howell, Mills, Fromm.
Oh God, that'd be awful. I'm just saying
that would be
just 4 now, right?
I just happened to. I just saw the Davis Mills, and I was just like, that is somebody who I wanted here before.
Yeah, okay.
Not here now. No, right now you need to go for a vet QB as competition for Sam Howell.
Not competition. Mentor. Competition. I don't want a I don't want a competition. I want a mentor.
Do we really think that? Let's see here. With the weapons we have on our offense.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think Davis Mills could thrive? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, our offenses, they're young, but they've been in the game at least 2 or 3 years already.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you did bring a Davis Mills in, do you think we would be that bad because he already has his? I'm just asking all kinds of questions.
Yeah, he's poop. Stop with trying to think
he is
going to elevate Davis Mills.
He is a low-end starter, high-end backup. Although I do like Gus Bus pointing out here, that might make sense since our QB coach used to be Mills's coach at Stanford.
I'm just saying,
a little tie there.
I can't believe we're talking about
you.
Yeah,
Mac
Davis
Jones.
Mills. Davis Mills probably isn't even available because they're just going to keep him there and draft another QB, and he might beat out whoever is the QB1 technically in competition. But like Stoner's saying here, it's not a fair fight, and it's not going to happen. What up, John? Thanks for joining us here. Gus Bus also asking us about Matt Ryan.
No, next. I got.
Thank you, Stoner, or thank you, Trev, because I'm right there with you. That's a big nope.
The Patriots, it's out there. Mac Jones might not be, and I know Mac Jones gets let go for some reason. They go get Lamar Jackson. Mac Jones available. You bring him here to compete with Sam Howell?
No, I didn't want him in the draft. Do you remember how we were praying in the draft that Washington wasn't going to take him, and then we were so excited.
We watched the way he walked to the podium. That's why.
No, we watched everything about Mac Jones, we're watching Mac Jones rather, and we said no. And so when the Patriots took him, we were like yes, and then everybody made fun of us. Because he had a good rookie year, and the Patriots actually were fairly successful. And like, you guys didn't want Mac Jones. Yeah, this is why we didn't want Mac Jones, people. He's Mac Jones. You don't want him.
I want somebody.
You're afraid he's going to beat out Sam Howell.
I don't want my backup QB to be awful. I want my backup QB to not threaten Sam Howell. But to be competent when you need him. I don't know if maybe a Gardner. I want the guy who is used to being a backup.
That's
who
what
has
I
done
mean.
it over and over
Yeah.
again.
I like
played-
Gardner Minshew.
Maybe
Minshew
a
mania
Minshew,
though.
but-
I don't want it here. We've had the
I
Hive.
want a Bridgewater. I want a Tyrod Taylor.
Tyrod,
I
can
want
get
to,
down with.
I want a
Tyler
guy
Huntley.
who's
That's
used to it.
Dominique. Thanks for joining us.
Oh,
Dominique asked
come on.
Tyler Huntley would be a great
Come on.
competition for Hal. A lot of people wanted
He wouldn't be a great
Tyler
competition.
Huntley like 2 years ago.
Because he
Sure,
was good when he came in to back up Lamar.
No, here's the thing: is
He's Lamar
he's
2.0.
such a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
If so, this
It's
is
like
the
PJ
difference.
Walker, his first couple of starts or whatever.
Yeah. If
now we know.
Josh Johnson.
Yeah, if you actually look at Tyler Huntley's tape, and people are like, "Oh yeah, he's Lamar Jackson 2.0." No, he's not. He's like the Wish version. Like you ordered Lamar Jackson from Wish.
you got
That's
Latrell.
you get Tyler Huntley. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You go to the dollar store, you get Tyler Huntley because the name brand Lamar Jackson's too much.
Yeah.
I got that.
I
great
hate
tally
to
right
dog
there.
on him that much because I think he's a very interesting player, but
My man,
his ceiling is no different to me than Taylor Heineke. High end, low end starter and high end backup.
okay, so
That's
then
where he belongs.
how old do you want your backup to be, Stoner? Because that's a factor too.
I like him a little bit older. I want him to be experienced. Again, I want him to be experienced as a backup. They're used to being a backup.
Case Keenum.
A Case Keenum?
Colt
Yeah.
McCoy.
Colt
Mariota.
McCoy.
Marcus
He might be a little bit
Mariota,
too old.
Gardner Minshew, Cooper Rush. Who else?
Yeah. Yeah. I want that kind of guy who not Cooper Rush. I mean, I know he played like 5 games or whatever, but I want a guy who's played over the course of 7 or 8 years, have played a couple of games here, 6 games there, 3 games there, 2 games, who have sniffed starter time. The Tyrod Taylors. Remember, Tyrod was supposed to be the quarterback for the Chargers, if not for that issue in game 1 or game 2, I think, whichever it was. And then Justin Herbert. He was supposed to be the star. I want that kind of guy who has been a backup in a lot of different places. Coaches trust those guys.
Jacoby Brissett.
I was about to say Jacoby Brissett here, Mariota.
Please.
These are good backup QB options for Washington and available. And so these are the QBs on the move that we're talking about here in the Manscaped cool down. Let us know in the comment section who you want to be either the backup to Sam Howell or competition for Sam Howell or starting over Sam Howell, all here in the comment section. Also, make sure you hit that like button. How many likes are we up to, Stoner?
37. That's not enough.
Oh, we got to get a little bit higher than that. Trev, what you got for us, man? Uh-oh. He's
Back to the very first one we talked about, Anthony Richardson being there at 16, and we take him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who's your backup quarterback? Now, who do you want your backup quarterback to be to come in and bring competition?
Same. Andy Dalton. Jameis
Winston,
Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
You're definitely if you draft a QB, or if you're planning on drafting a QB within the first 3 rounds, and Washington will know that going into the draft, right? They will know what their plan is for a QB and who they're targeting. So even if it is the kid from Tennessee whose name I'm Hooker. If it's Hooker and you're wanting him in the 2nd round, you are going to get somebody like an Andy Dalton for $5 to $7 million. Okay, because you're going to go after a cheap rookie QB to battle both Sam Howell and the
writing's on the wall for Sam Howell. It is you're not our guy.
Right.
We had to go and draft somebody high because you're not it.
And then we don't need another body just because in case both of you guys.
That's why I don't think they're going to go and get a Hendon Hooker in the 2nd round, even if he's there and available. They're not going to do it because then you're just blowing up all this stuff with Sam Howell.
I do think that they are going to give Sam Howell the chance to prove himself. Now, if he doesn't beat out another QB, then he doesn't beat out another QB. So be it.
As Ron said, so be it.
I can't.
He definitely said that.
But if he does beat out whoever they bring in, then that's great. Like you want that, and you want them to develop. And then I want people to have some patience. This fan base will not have patience. We know the ownership won't. whether or not it's the new owner or the former owner, they're not going to have patience. Ron Rivera is going into this probably as his last season, unless he lights the world on fire. So he needs to, and this is why we talked so long about Lamar Jackson.
Splash.
Is you got to make some kind of splash move to light the world on fire. Your team has repeatedly been in mediocrity, 7 wins, 8 wins. You back into the playoffs 1 year.
By default.
Really by default. I mean, you had a losing record. I don't care how close that game was against Tampa Bay. This is a year that you have to make moves. And so if you believe in Sam Howell, and this is which kind of frustrates me, and where I'm with Stoner on this, is if you believe in him, then you need to back him. And they're not doing that. They're doing this wishy-washy kind of like, well, he's QB1 and he's going to be, they're not naming him the starter. I understand the two different thoughts to this. I understand the thought that, well, you can't name the starter in January, which is when all this conversation started, right? I got it. And you want to keep your options open. If you end up selecting somebody like Andy Dalton, then you made your decision back in January and you're wishy-washy for no reason.
Yep.
Okay.
Or that's a play, right?
It's a play.
Could be just throwing
it's a play
people off,
to
right?
be open. Sure. And maybe you did call Lamar Jackson, whatever it may be. I also understand that if you are going to go all in with a QB and be like, no, Sam Howell's going to be our starter. Look at what Houston did. They kind of did this with Davis Mills, right? They were like, nope, Mills is going to be our starter. And then they try to build up pieces around. If that's the route you're going, if the 16th overall pick is an offensive lineman and you spend all of your free agent money trying to bulk up this offensive line to be like, hey, we're going to try to get Sam Howell time and we're going to try to develop him, then you need to actually do that. And I just haven't seen it yet, but free agency doesn't start till next week, guys. So we never know. We don't know what's up on that. So
I do have a little anecdote that I wanted to throw to you guys. And it's something that I heard from a source. And I tried to confirm it with the source. Now, the source gave this information out to somebody else.
Okay.
And I tried to confirm it with my source, and the source didn't get back to me. And I don't know what that means. Okay. So take that as you will. But this person said that week leading up to the Cowboys, week 18.
Yeah.
And Sam Howell said that Sam Howell in that week had the most impressive week of practice of any Washington quarterback the entire year. Not one ball when they were doing actual practice, not one ball touched the ground that entire week of practice. And they knew going into that game that Sam Howell was going to ball out. Okay.
Apparently he's been doing that all
Take
season.
that is what you will.
The kid can zip it. I am so excited.
Okay, but
I know.
I'm gonna hit the button again here because I'm a howler. I want him to succeed, and I think that he could really ball.
One more point to that, in that they did not shorten the playbook for him. That he was competent of the playbook through the entire week. I haven't been able to confirm that. Okay, because I couldn't tell if they were saying that as a hypothetical.
Nah, it's true.
Or if that actually happened.
It's true.
They didn't get back to me. I don't know why they didn't get back to me.
Because I had to work, bro. I was at work. That's why I didn't get back to you. But I'll get back
I'm just
to you
saying.
right now.
I'm just saying. So that could be one of those things to where, yes, they totally believe in this kid.
They do.
And they're just throwing some smoke out there to throw people off the scent.
Maybe
so they
him
can do
too.
something in the draft or whatever.
Or maybe they're just doing that and not just, helping Sam Howell being like, yo, I know.
It could be the tough love.
Yeah,
that,
you know
love
you
giving,
got
right?
it.
Jamin
Right.
Davis
Just
is
not
an
handing
example
it.
where people we hammered here on this podcast, Sportscast, that we hammered the coaching staff for how they handled Jamin Davis.
Mhm.
And when Jamin Davis started showing up and being an NFL linebacker, a lot of people, hindsight 2020, came back and were like, oh, this is why they gave him that tough love and all this other like macho, masculinity stuff. Got it. It works with some people, doesn't work with some people. Maybe it worked with Jamin Davis, or just maybe Jamin Davis in his second year started understanding the game a little bit better. Maybe, probably that. And maybe this is the same kind of mentality, though, where they're like, hey, we're not going to anoint him because we don't want him getting too big for his britches. And he needs to understand he's got to be hungry. And that does seem like the mentality of Ron Rivera and then Eric Bieniemy as well, right? Like he's going to push our offense, and we are very excited to see where that's going to go here in Washington. We appreciate everyone jumping in the chat. If you have a chance, make sure you hit that like button. No one made use of our Sky Bar super chat today, but that's all right. Sky Bar is still there for you in Lexington, Virginia. And if you head there and mention the name Ref the District to Trev, your first drink is on us. We appreciate everyone jumping in the chat for us. Whether or not it's Michael, Dominique, Doug, Gus, Allison in the chat, even though she is a Philly fan, TJ, too nasty for you, T-Roy in the house as well. We appreciate everyone. We are live every Wednesday on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, and then on your favorite audio platforms after that. So make sure that you're subscribed wherever we are. And until next time,
happy International Women's Day.
Happy indeed. Be a fan.